Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is April 9th, 2010. I am Jason Bermas sitting in for Alex Jones. We have Bob Chapman coming up in the second hour, and we are joined by Mark Dice for the entire first hour. Of course, Mark Dice is featured in my newest documentary, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined. And I did this film because of really the lack of knowledge out in the culture right now. And even out in the culture when I was asleep 10 years ago now. I had no idea about this stuff. And Mark, it really saddens me to see a society, a once great society of manufactured cloned puppets that suck on pop culture and really are so involved in the minutia of their favorite sports team or their favorite celebrity that they cannot see what's really going on around them.
No, and that is part of the New World Order, to distract everybody with bread and circus. And that's why I'm really looking forward to this film. Congratulations. It looks absolutely amazing. And that is what they need. That's why the New World Order has been able to succeed, obviously, because people aren't politically aware. And I think the time is right with this now because you have a segment of the population after 9/11 that knew that it was an inside job or that were just against the wars in general. That's one particular issue. There's a large segment of the population that obviously supported the war or just were really indifferent. But now that the economic collapse has happened, a lot of people are looking for answers as to why, as to who to blame. They're getting worried. And so now everybody's lives are affected because, with 9/11, a lot of people were disconnected. They didn't feel a personal connection to the war or to the soldiers. They didn't feel that, sending the soldiers over to die necessarily affected them. But now everybody's pocketbook is affected. Everybody's talking about the economic collapse. Everybody wants to know, what group, what sort of backroom deals led to this collapse and is continuing to just run the country down the toilet. And so I think this is just fantastic. I think this is the primer. It looks better than any History Channel show I've ever seen. I mean, this is going to be fantastic.
Well, thank you so much, Mark. And as you were talking about the economy, you're right. Now that the Obama administration is in, we are bringing in so-called conservatives. Of course, you and I know that there is a false left-right paradigm out there to control both of us, to make us really choose sides and think we're part of a team. I got news for you, folks. We're not part of any team at all. It's us versus them. You have more in common than your so-called liberal counterparts than you realize. And Bernanke yesterday, it was in the Associated Press, is saying now we have to make difficult choices. Remember, the economy was recovering, and now they made up a new term. It's a double-dip recession. It's really a depression, folks. They're telling you 10% unemployment. It's 20+% in this country. Don't believe the hype. He's saying to avoid large and unsustainable budget deficits, the nation will ultimately have to choose among, and it won't be a choice, they'll be doing all of these things, among higher taxes, so they're going to raise your taxes. They're already taking 20, 30, sometimes 40 and 50%. Depending on what tax bracket you're in, modifications to entitlement programs such as Social Security and Medicare, and those aren't entitlement programs. Those are programs we've paid into our entire lives forcibly through our paychecks. We don't really get a choice there. So they're going to take away those programs and raise taxes, and now they're out in the open talking about it, Mark.
Yeah, and I have a note that I want to talk to about taxes. Obviously, tax day, April 15th, also the release of Invisible Empires, also the deadline for your extortion check to be sent in to the federal government for your income tax. And so a lot of people, obviously, in this movement, in this audience, are involved in seeing how the tax scheme is a fraud. Everybody's probably seen Aaron Russo's film, America, Freedom to Fascism. And some people might just think, well, I'm just not going to pay them. And I just want to urge you that I've done that before, and I can tell you that after about a year or so, we'll catch up to you. And you'll pay heavy fines, and they're going to garnish your check. So even though, yes, the income tax is a fraud, it needs to be taken care of on a legislative level. And if you just don't
We'll talk about that more on the other side. It's the Alex Jones Show. I'm Jason Bermas sitting in. PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com. We are back live. It's the Alex Jones Show. I am Jason Bermas sitting in. We're streaming live at PrisonPlanet.tv and Infowars.com. jason-bermas.com right now. We're joined by Mark Dice. And I want to talk a little bit about this because there's a crowd out there that doesn't pay their taxes, that thinks that common law is the answer. But what they don't understand is by paying your taxes, you stay out of their crosshairs and their system further. I mean, tell us your experience with not paying your taxes, Mark. We admit it's not legal. We promote freedom to fascism. We're trying to get the information out there. But at the same time, we don't want to end up in a prison cell. We don't want the very little assets that we actually have taken away or garnished.
Yeah, it is extortion. We're all in agreement on that. And about 5 years ago, I just decided to just not pay. I just didn't even file. I just said, forget about it, you know. And they sent me a few letters saying, yeah, you forgot to file. And, of course, I just ignored all of them. And I just figured it would go away. And they started garnishing my wages at my day job, and which, of course, I should have known that they were going to do. I just didn't realize, a year goes by, and I figured they just forgot about it. And no, started garnishing my wages, and I think I paid over a $500 fine and interest and all this stuff. And so, yesterday I posted a message on my Facebook page just reminding people to get their taxes done on time. Pay your extortion check on time so you don't have to pay the fines and the interest. There's a couple guys on there that were saying, oh, you're just funding, you shouldn't be complaining about the New World Order because you're just funding them. You're just paying their check. You're sending them the money to have them build the New World Order. And so you shouldn't even complain about it. I'm just thinking, well, I actually agree that the taxes are illegal. It is extortion, but we need to take care of this on a legislative level. By just simply not paying your taxes, it may seem like you're protesting, but honestly, you're just a number. They don't care. They're going to start garnishing your wages. They're going to come to your door. They will seize your assets. And so there's a better way to fight the tax revolt than there is just to simply not pay.
And people, Mark, they think that there's a silver bullet out there. They think that there's these solutions that are going to happen overnight. I have the solution. They believe in phony documents and underground SEAL teams that are ready to save us at a moment's notice. No, that's not how the world works. You have to work towards a goal. You have to gain momentum. You have to get people behind an idea, and you have to mobilize them. I think that civil disobedience is one of the greatest ways that we can achieve these kind of goals. But first, we have to educate the public. We have to explain to them their methods, their modes of control, the organizations out there that really do matter, that do pull the strings, that set the policy, that sit in the boardrooms and decide what your and my life is going to look like in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, we get more people like Congressman Ron Paul on our side, or we start taking part in massive tax day protests, just getting hundreds of thousands, millions of people in multiple cities clamoring. We use films like Invisible Empire and others to educate those that aren't aware. Some people in the audience may think that they already know everything that there is to know. Maybe they're obsessed with researching this as we are, but I can guarantee you that there's stuff out there in little aspects of this that we don't know about. And I myself become very educated even from your films and from others' films. And as much as I obsess about this and research this, I certainly don't know everything. And so the films are great, especially some people think, oh, this is just the same old stuff rehashed. Well, then maybe it's not for you. Maybe it's for your friends and your family. And so instead of sending them a link to a YouTube video and saying, here, check this out, maybe you should have everybody over for a party and watch it on your 50-inch flat screen. And that's how you're going to get the message across. Because everybody's so busy, you send someone a link to 1/10 of the part of Invisible Empire or some other films or Endgame or some of the stuff about 9/11. And maybe they watch it, maybe they don't. You get jokes from your family and friends, and if you're busy, you're just going to pass through it. So that's why I think I saw Alex did a quick video urging viewing parties, which is really the best thing to do, because I'd rather watch it on a 50-inch flat screen than watching it on a tiny little laptop computer.
Or you have it at your local church or community center, and you get one of those projectors, and it's actually on a movie screen. I can't tell you how many times we did that with Loose Change and Loose Change Final Cut. In fact, I want to play a sneak peek right now of Invisible Empire, and this is a section dealing with the Council on Foreign Relations. It features G. Edward Griffin, and we're going to come back after that. So this is a brand new sneak peek of my latest film coming out April 15th, Tax Day, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined.